Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a 2v2 for you guys today on Nuclear Winter is Coming, and this was one of the most fun matches I've had in a long time, but I do have to do the whole YouTuber ask thing, so if you do enjoy this sort of content, like, share, subscribe, it really does help out. Now that I've said all that stuff that's supposed to make me feel very dirty about my, well, supposed hobby, well, we're getting to it, and I'm going for a cap in Boris. I'm going to be pushing on this side. I'm taking a Baltic motorized deck and trying for a little bit of a weird opening. My intention was, rather than driving everything through Elena and into Anna Dimitri directly, cap Boris and then call in motorized units after, and I wanted to see if it was faster. It turns out, well, no, not really, because if I had stuff on wheels, we'd be all the way over here by now, and I haven't even set down yet, let alone started calling stuff in. But we did have a gigantic air opener from Core, and, I mean, look at this. Akula, KA-52, double MiG. Unfortunately, Xander is there to answer, and there's a Barak 2 as well from Union. SU-27M is taking a little bit of fire. Swings and misses, though. Pretty lucky SU-27M, so some of my forward elements are unfortunately taken out, and I do have Iroquois Ziekri that will be moving up in the Super Pumas, trying to get a forward hold and center while the rest of the reinforcements get rolled out. I am also, right now, setting up a garrison in Fetter. This was just to address the possibility of a push through Fetter while my ally has that huge air opener on, well, on this side. We're pretty light in terms of troops on the ground, all told, and here's where I'm setting up a defensive line. So this is what I regret. If I had stuff on the ground to begin with, moving in through Dimitri and up to center, we could reasonably be fighting already on this part of Dimitri and this part of center. My helicopters are having to retreat because they're relatively unsupported and can't take the combined arms of Union and Xander on this side. So it looks like it's going to be Israeli for Union, and Xander is playing probably Scandinavia. Could be just Sweden. STRVs, STRFs, but the M113, yep, those are Danish. Said it was going to be Scandinavian for Xander. Unfortunately, Jaeger 90 do spot my Iroquois, and I know I can't stand up to these guys in a one-to-one fight, so I'm trying to distract the Super Puma while the Iroquois get away, while the other Iroquois here are just overwhelmed by sheer numbers. So, I mean, they're getting kills, they've used half their Apoloses, and Apolli? I don't know. And to reasonably good effect here, but just too far forward, too unsupported, and there go low availability, high expense units for a Baltic motorized deck, and this opener is just way too slow. So if you're out there watching, don't do this. It was worth a try. Well, it's not worth a second try or ever doing ever again. I mean, my KTs are taking so long. The Zeldas from Union are over in Dimitri before my KTs are. That should never, ever, ever happen. And it just did. So yeah, just get stuff going off the start, do the simple way, and don't do this sort of 400-point dump, 500-point dump later on. So Iroquois are taken out. They were killed by a couple of units there that were sent specifically for them off that land reinforcement marker, and we weren't able to get the persistent kills on that reinforcement zone. That was what I was intending with that initial deployment. Mi-17s will be pretty useful though, and those S-13 rocket pods are really, really dangerous, really, really meaty, but the Israelis are already here, Rovait moving up, taken out by KTs, but I mean, this is not where I wanted to be fighting this early on. Sanahim are also moving forward, and I don't really love the Sanahim pick over Sanahim 90. Uzis are not a great primary, and the AP power on that RPG isn't great either, but at least they do have shock training, which is something. So, bombers coming in, many thanks to Core there, and you can see we do have a forward position on the left-hand side. Fetter is going to be capped soon. Ivan is very much under threat from Core's forward push, and the couple of helicopters here have been, I mean, they're alive. That's good. Mine are no longer alive, short of, I think, a single Super Puma on this side. More Iroquois Ziekri will be spotting. We have also reinforcements moving forward here, but I have nothing for this STRV. This is the thing about motorized. I have ATGMs, and I can do those. I have ATGM helicopters, I can do those. I have ATGM planes. What I do not have is anything that can go toe-to-toe with a double stack of STRV 121s. 23 AP power, 19 frontal armor, they're pseudo-super heavies, but my heaviest tank is a Pion. And yeah, this guy's good, 60% accuracy, 17 AP, but no. So the Pion's back there. I was really worried about getting pushed through on this side at the moment. A couple of Hawk bombers. This is so stupid. I didn't realize for a second. I've played so much Blue 4 instead of Red 4 recently, I thought the KA-52 was trying to attack me. So the Hawks are in trying to use those Molnia missiles against the KA-52, and then finally evac ordered after they basically run out of gas, circling, trying to say, hey, I can't fight this. Even the Salamander and Sokol were sent out to attack the KA-52. Oh, man. Sometimes I do dumb shit. It's just, it is what it is. But we are trying to clear these woods, and this is what I'm talking about. Sanahim taken out by KTs. The Sanahim 90 would have had a much better chance of fending those guys off. But, I don't know, it is what it is. Yekri and Iroquois Yekri moving forward here, trying to deny Xander, with that Scandinavian armor, any sort of approach around the side. I'm very aware that that could be a thing. Oxidritz, though, moving over as well, and I had to kind of wonder, I mean, this is some serious teamwork going on between the Israeli and Scandinavian players, and it looks like they've kind of just said, okay, well, Ivan's a bit of a wash. There are some reinforcements going in there from Union, but I think they're really trying to push on this side of the field. So, Hawk Bomber coming in as my Iroquois were lost. Cephib's rocket pods, unfortunately, doing them in without the opportunity to use my own anti-air missiles. But Liv Garden targeted, shot by the Hawk, and down you go. So at least we get some revenge there. But I am going to need more to pad out the defenses on that side. Ito 90 is also called up just because Cephib's they're a menace, and I want to have something good to take them out, to even shoot at a Barak if it decides to get a little bit cheeky. Pions here, ATGMs are there, and we have a decent hold on Dmitry now, so Yekri are in not a terrible position, Yekri 90 I mean, and KTs to support here and there with XA-180s on this side and recon infantry to spot not anything in the town, but vehicles moving forward. So I wanted to see BTRs, I wanted to see the CV-90s coming in, and in an ideal world I'd also have ATGMs that are able to get up here and project force forward. So first we do have to handle the woods though, and that is my next intention, to sort of go into the woods there. I'll have to see if it works out. Buratino by from Core. I mean, let's see what that was shooting at. A couple of Bedouins, some Rovaites. The Bedouins get mostly taken out. Not entirely. Rovai are fine, a little bit outside of the spread. Down to one man, and I think they'll probably survive that. Interesting. Not the world's most effective Buratino, but honestly, I swear, things like that, whenever my opponents are using them, they do it right on top of like 10 units of infantry, or maybe the issue is that I have that many that close together to begin with. But, I don't know. It's a mixed bag. Nice thing is it's still around, it can be reloaded and used again. So, Musty's bringing in Raskizin Korima, those guys with the really, really wonderful standoff range. That's why you buy the Raskizin Korima and the Musty trucks. I mean, they both carry the Musty primary weapon, 1400 meter range, but STRF makes my ambitions relatively short-lived there, and the Raskizin Korima, I don't notice this. This is the problem, is I didn't notice, I didn't unload. If I had all 6 of those Musty guns shooting in, we could have killed the STRF. Instead, I mean, that's a lot of kills from a single STRF there, so Xander had to be happy about that. Spike teams moving forward, Ito 90 trying to go into a bit more survivable of a position, even if it is a little bit less useful, and the Rover, look at this, Rover RBS 90, gets a shot in, hits the Akula, answering fire from the Akula is a swing and a miss at the very last second, and the Rover's going to get the second shot. So here's the Akula, there's the answering Rover, Akula missed again, Rover got the hit, and between the two Rovers they take out both of those super high value helicopters. I also do lose both of my Hawks trying to support, so we have some pretty bad losses here. That's a lot of points in the air, particularly the helicopters from Core, so that is going to be a problem. The Puff, however, is not, so MiG-25 PD trying to get the kill. Looks like, 0 for 4 on the missiles there, and does get killed, so the PD goes down. Ito 90 is here though, and we do get the kill. Sokol, I think, actually got it with an Iglo, which is pretty nice. Su-27M going in against Block 15. Stunned, evac ordered. If that stun was a little bit farther forward, or if I had my Ito where he initially was, we would have been able to get a shot, but as it stands, not really. And we kind of are into the middle of this game now, a bit of jockeying for position and planning going on before any other sort of offensive, so I'm going to speed things up just a bit. Ivan is capped. We are at 146 points to 0, so Core and I are relatively comfortable at the moment. We'd have to lose the middle zone for a very long time. I mean, nobody's capping that quite yet, but this was pretty devastating. Howitzer going in and hitting up my Spike team, and I see it, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'll move them out of the way, and I move them directly into the way, although I think they still would have gotten hammered by that last round, later end of that volley. That's a Beacon, by the way, so Beacon 1C from Xander doing that sort of devastation. KTs do get a nice firing concave here, and the Copa is there, finally going to be capping Dmitry, getting us back with a ticking +1, and the Blue 4 team needs to answer this quickly, because And they're already 150 points behind. Sure, there's 28 minutes left in the game, but that will go by quicker than you think in times like this. Unfortunately, the KTs are being shot up now. The beacon fire is persistent and very effective, and I didn't have this sort of long-range artillery I'd need in order to answer it well. So, you know, I don't know. This is the thing. It's a very effective deck. Baltic Motorized is very strong, but I really wanted to just take a couple of tanks and drive them through, and I couldn't really do that. So my T-55 even getting punished by the double STRV, and down they go. So I'm trying to delay with the XA-180s, spike teams moving forward, Pion shooting in, trying to delay the Dragoner rush here. I don't have the infantry that I need to deal with that right now. So even a PT-76B shooting in, trying to get that rink-dink gun online as a Salamandra. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to delay here, but the STRVs just mulch anything that gets within their line of sight. ITO 79, I'm trying these guys out. Better against planes than the ITO 90s. I think a single one's probably not really worthwhile. 45-50 meter range is good. We would have been able to catch that Barak earlier on. But only 2 shots, not exceptional accuracy, 45%, so you're not even really going to be counting on 1 hit out of 2 there. But at least we did manage to kill the Dragoner for right now, and a Rock 91 is my answer to the Blue 4 artillery, just trying to pound in here. I was hoping for a lucky kill on a command vehicle, and if we take a look, I was shooting a little bit farther back, so lots of people will go for the obvious position back here. As it turns out, there was a strip BV-90 that was a bit farther forward, so good positioning there from Xander. Of course, even the safest position, if it's the expected position, is no longer safe. I was a little bit surprised that Ivan is still held, but it looks like there's just been some skirmishing going on there for a while. Lots of air-to-air combat going on, and the Barak evac ordered. Yeah, MiG-25 PD is just not getting a lot of use. I mean, 3 shots, 0 hits, and it's not the first plane to do that during this game. So we do have attack markers in. This is where the enemy command vehicle seems to have stopped. We watched it come in, actually, with the A390 on this side, so pretty good for our optics. And I'm trying to resupply the rock, and then we'll see what we can do. Yekri shooting at Zeldas, and the reason I didn't push across here is because we're going to be taking fire from everything in this town, everything maybe in this town as well, and if you're bringing in a command vehicle, odds are there's other stuff in that forest. Yekri unsupported won't be able to do that. That's why my ATGM team was here. The intention was push the Yekri across, get kills with the ATGM team, and push into that village that way. Well, not the village, sorry, the woods there that way, but not quite able to manage that. And now even my KT is running out of ammunition as more infantry from Union is pushing into the Israeli player, really making his presence known on this side of the board. Not something I expected going into the match, but hey, you don't always get what you want, you don't always get what you expect. Musty's taking fire from ATGMs, and I lost a lot of these guys sort of needlessly, but that time at least wasn't going to be one of them, as the ATGM does swing and a miss there. Pretty fortunate for me, lucky rather than good sort of moment. We actually waste a second one too, as the Ruskies in Korima do dismount. So, oh man, this was a hell of a game, and the best is yet to come. So Live Garden are spotted. They take out a Salamandra that was just going up to try and shoot in up here, and that was the first indication I had a really big problem. So I didn't have infantry in these woods yet. I had a single squad of CC that was going to be moving up, trying to get some recon in, and it's not going to be enough. A single squad of CC cannot take out Live Garden in the woods, not 2 of them anyway. And the Rock 91 was shooting, and then is going to be repositioned in response to the aggression on that side. I'm trying to get things far away from it as possible. ITO 79 still at risk, and all of that, and just finally moving the command infantry there into a town. But there goes the PT-76 that at least does give me some metric on how far they've made progress through the woods, and the answer is the inevitable KRKKs with Cart and Yekri. So these guys, we'll see their stats when they dismount, but excellent shock infantry, really good primary and tertiary weapon with the RPD, and they're going to be moved up, split, and then push forward, screening for the Live Garden, trying to make sure I don't miss anything. A second group of 3 called out as well, and the contact is surprisingly far forward, so look at that, Live Garden had made it all the way up here. These guys, Carl Gustav M2 and the IMG3, not something I want to be fighting near my own spawn, which was undoubtedly the attempt there with the infiltration through the woods. Cart and Yekri taking a bit of a pounding, but they do kill one of the Live Garden, and now we have a second unit making contact, and the first one should be cycling back any second now, as 1, 2, 3 units of Cart and Yekri surround and demolish what's left of the 20-point infantry there from Sir Xander. So I was kind of happy with that, but these guys are not the best against vehicles, and that still does present a pretty big risk. Super Puma's moving in, and that's going to be more Iroquois Yekri as the other Cart and Yekri do arrive on their KRKK transports. My only regret was that it's so far into the woods that these guys are really not best used there. The frag rounds are really for killing infantry in the open, crossing lanes. It's a area denial is how I've best used it. Otherwise it gets in the woods, you don't get many rounds off, and these guys will move up faster than Cartinier, so it becomes a micro stress. I'm sure you can do it, I just have not had that much luck with it. So the damage unit of 6 is hanging back, the others are moving forward. KRKK is trying to keep pace just in case there was something on the edge of the woods here, and more Cartinier changing direction now. I'm going to be trying to push through and into the woods on this side because I had the bright idea that, hey, that avoids having to deal with the STRVs, which is at least one way that a Baltic Moto deck can be impactful in the late game grind. It's just infantry, 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 and more and more and more. So, Motostrelki from Brainlets moving forward here, MTLBVs pushing in as well, and these guys are going to encounter some armor in the woods, a bit of a problem. But speaking of encountering armor, Cartinier versus Auxiliaries, not a fight that I want to take on lightly, and I do immediately start pulling back as the Auxiliaries are spotted. Again, that's units from Union. He's all the way over there. It's the last thing I expected to see. The Rak 91 did shoot in, and the unfortunate bit here is that we were able to get the command vehicle, not that I knew it at the time, down to a single point of health left on the strip BV, just not able to kill it. And that just not able to kill it means that, well, this zone's still countercapped, and we have to come in to fight another day. More Cartinier moving forward, and we do have the Auxiliaries now, and the only damage we were able to get on there is because this guy's a side angle. So you can see I'm force pathing him forward a little bit, trying to get another persistent side angle, trying to split these Auxiliaries between two bad engagements, as the Rovai they are escorting do get taken out relatively quickly. And, I mean, yeah, for Cartinier against Auxiliaries, I was surprised and quite happy with that. I mean, it was mostly good angles. But that goes to show, don't underestimate these guys in numbers in the woods. They can take on even the notoriously tough Auxiliaries without too much trouble with just a little bit of careful positioning. KT shooting in, and Cartinier versus Falskrimjägeri. This is going to be a short fight indeed, so, I mean, I need to move these guys. Bombing runs are going to be deadly if they come in, and CV9030Ns are trying to do the same work the Auxiliaries did, except with more potent guns. And they meet the same fate. So these guys, I think it was, what, 5 frontal armor on those guys? I was expecting a little bit more longevity than we saw, but now that they're dead, the remaining Stormer don't stand a chance against the RPD and Swapney KP of Cartinier. So really good engagement here for us. Started out pretty bad, but I think we've turned it into a bit of a point sink for, I mean, I guess both sides. I have a huge investment here, but at least my investment is still alive, which, that's the silver lining that you always want to go for. Auxiliaries and Zeldas pushing into Dimitri again, just relentless, almost tower defense-like engagements on this side of the field on those two different zones. But the Tomahim from Union have also killed most of the Motostrelki here, and Kor's aggressive move through the woods has come up a failure. Spetsnaz Gru are spotting, and the Buratino is almost ready to shoot again. Let's have to see what he's targeting with that. Ooh, there it goes. There's the volley. Let's flip to neutral, and nothing here other than an Auxiliary Pakud, which should be able to weather the storm pretty well. Yeah, no. Yeah. Buratinos, man. They are what they are. We do have a huge offensive coming in from Xander, though, and this, I was panicking. We have lots of replugged rifle jeeps, we have lots of cheap transports with Dragoner, and then a double stack of 121s and 103Ds that are more than a match for my Pion, particularly when I'm on the move. So 15% stabilizer. Finnish tanks really don't like to move and shoot. So the stabilizers, of course, usually better on blue than red, but particularly bad for some of the armor you don't necessarily expect it from on the Finnish team. KRKK is trying to come over here, fast response, but the STRV 121 guns are going to rip them to pieces very, very quickly. My ATGM team that was previously up here is down to 1 spike and very, very unhappy, while my Fagot team with the MI-17s is not quite in position, so KT is doing well. KRKK is intercepting Dragoner, Raniko Yekri are still there, and Assyria does come in to take out one of the 121s. SU-27M takes out the other, and brutal, brutal teamwork with another 103D lost for Xander on that team. Radar A, oh jeez, even the automatic got taken out, so this was a terrifying offensive, but one of the highlights of the game in terms of red for success, as I think it was something like 600 points that probably just got dumpstered there from Xander. So many thanks to Kor for bailing me out of that dangerous situation. If the other STRVs were alive, even my Ranico wouldn't be enough to really deal with them. T-55 gets the last 103D, 90-point kill there off of the recon tank, and now we are pushing back a little bit, but ATGM spotted, RBS 56, able to weather that first tank shot and still land their ATGM. It's part of what makes Swedish ATGMs that deadly. Also things like Mistrals and stuff like that, anything that's a 5-strength weapons team, it means it can take a little bit more of a pounding than your usual, and that longevity can translate to kills, even where the missiles are maybe a little bit worse, or even the same. So Ranico Yekri and KTs working together to clear out the last of the Dragoner, and for right now, this position has held. I'm doing my own offensive in response. Carton Yekri pushing through. Open ground is really not where they wanted to be, and a couple of better fire support vehicles here would have made a big difference against those M113Gs that are right now just slaughtering my Carton Yekri in the open ground. But Liv Garden are not going to be happy with this engagement. My men are still on the calm and worried scale of things, so not quite panicked, but a Wildcat able to demolish some of my CC who are just able to escape there, and this is probably enough to consider failed. So I do pull back. I've brought a couple of resupply trucks. We're going to be helpfully healing everything and then doing it again, but with a bit more success. So not the most creative, but I am just desperately defending here as well. Dragoner taken out by Ranico Yekri, but that's not the end, as more Dragoner are here. The Copa's guns getting turned on because I was an idiot and didn't turn these off. So now the Blue 4 team does know exactly where that command vehicle is. And I didn't notice he was shooting at the time. I was looking over here trying to micro this stuff, trying to get them back from that disastrous failed offensive. And again, it looks like Ivan has held. So Ito's fending off most of the vehicles. Shotko Dalit, of course, is very, very nice for a 40-point tank. 13 APs, jeez. Okay, and a spike team as well, so just lots of ATGMs denying the offensive into Ivan on the left side of the board. And I'm starting to run light on infantry, even with Baltic motorized. I mean, Haraskis and Korima getting called up again. Ranico Yekri holding the line as long as they can, but here comes the howitzer. Beacon gets a kill on my command vehicle and just rips through some of the musty and Haraskis and Korima reinforcements. This is just... it was brutal work. Sanahim, a full healthy group, will get through panicked Ranico Yekri. Much as I don't want that to be true, it definitely is. And particularly because I had their Velmet turned off trying to kill the BTR. So that should pop on again now, and we will be able to engage somewhat on even footing, but just endless Sanahim, endless Rovait, and I'm spending everything I've got, so at this point I think I had something like 10 points in reserve. Rack 91 is shooting in again, and at least that has been consistent damage and disruption and distraction, and we do also get some nice kills against Shaitet 13 here. Very expensive elite infantry from the Israeli player taken out in the open ground by a pair of KTs on the edge of their Bushmaster 2s. So yeah, I mean, we lost one, but I'll trade one of those for two Shaitet 13 any day, plus the vehicles that they rode in on, so everything there getting demolished as it goes into Dimitri. But because we lost your command vehicle here, Dimitri has been capped for the Blue 4 team, and they're at a +1 for the first time in the game, and I was looking at this just going, I can feel it slipping away, you know? You ever have those moments where you're sitting there going, okay, I have nothing else I can bring in, I have no points to bring in reinforcements, I've got another command vehicle headed up toward Dimitri, but my hold used to be up here, and now we're back into a very small area that's very targetable by beacons, by, well, lots of stuff. More Ranico coming in, and I'm trying to retreat the injured ones, bringing in a couple of resupply vehicles to heal them up, because these guys, of course, not the highest availability either, and I do lose an MI-17, the one that was very helpful earlier on, as well as a T-55 Pion, to a double stack of automatics and some fire support, and seeing that, I was sitting there going, okay, great, I'm going to get pushed through the center again. I have even less stuff than I did the first time. The Pion's gone now. The Fagot team is here, but they're in the wrong spot. They need to be sort of farther up, able to get shots in across this whole zone. And my Raskis and Korima get intercepted by Sanahim, and yeah, I mean, the Musties do good work, but firing into towns is never going to be great, and it's just, the primary weapons on these guys are just horrible. The M39s, it's a bolt-action rifle for crying out loud. Oof. Hate to see it. But Giraffe Itos from Union, these guys, I mean, they're not expensive, but I was impressed by how well they did over on Ivan. I think maybe this is not quite the right place for them. Not enough heavy vehicles here, and the ones that are already going to be taken out by the hold that's in the center. That, I mean, STRV is replaced by Xander already, not to mention automatics. So I am trying to push forward again, but it looks like this has been reinforced as well. Xander expecting me to try a second time and my somewhat healed units are not going to stay that way for very long, just the number of autocannons shooting in. We do get some pretty good contact here, we're able to get into the woods, but I was nervous this whole time because if I was Xander and I saw this many units, that would be a bomber, that would be a B-can just immediately. So Su-24M coming in, trying to kill the so-called Dalit, but unfortunately the Dalit survives, and the plane does not, so a bit of a whiff there on the bombing run, and I think that's sort of the story of this side of the field, is it was just nobody able to, the blue 4 player not able to push core out, core not quite able to push in, and every time there's a new engagement it just sort of waffled a little bit. Sort of like I'm doing over on the right here as well. Liv Garden getting ripped to shreds, but we're not able to get forward enough with healthy enough units to present a solid threat. And not to mention my resupply is gone, my ITOs are, my anti-air coverage is not great, KT's out of ammunition, and this side, once that offensive fails, which it will, this side is very, very much in trouble, particularly when the left side is in trouble as well. So Merkava 2B moving up, Stormer, Sanahim, Renako Yekri shooting at everything they possibly can, but I didn't notice the Merkava and I didn't turn off the Valmet, so we could have gotten that 90-point kill there and we didn't, and just getting pounded and pounded and pounded. So the Renako are going to be retreating, and at least that is something, getting them out of the range of the guns, but wonderful mortar support and howitzer support coming in here. My other Renako healed up to full 20, so the supply trucks did some pretty good work there, but I've lost the Raskas in Korima, and there's Fennec 20 mils answering now. It was just, brutal, brutal work. Brutal work, indeed, easy for me to say. Oof. I don't know, it's one thing, I never thought I'd really talk this much until I started doing these sorts of videos, and sometimes the words just don't come out right. So I've gained a lot of empathy for people who occasionally fumble over a word or two, and you're sitting there thinking, oh come on, you're publishing this, how can you make that mistake? Well, it's actually quite easy. Renako Yekri are chasing a little bit, we've spotted the Merkava to be there, and we've cleared out a couple units of infantry, but I don't know, this was a bit of a gamble. I didn't have much coming in behind them. I mean, a double squad of reinforcements is it. I really just wanted the 90-point tank kill, and I probably should have split these guys already, as some are stuck engaging the Liv Garden, while the other ones are moving up. Merkava 2B moving away, and a nice reverse move there too, so no weak armor exposed to the Renako Yekri. Barak coming in, Kurnos coming in, nice answer from Core, so one of those planes does go down, but the other, the Kurnos, looks like it's alive, actually dead. Wonderful, wonderful use of that Su-27M, but there is an Ayit coming in. It's rare that you see these guys. 4,200 meter range on the Seed is not great, and the 600 cheese. That's so slow. There are helicopters that are more than half, well, yeah, I mean, they're faster than the Helos, but not by all that much. Unfortunately, not able to get any kills in the book. M1's almost out of ammunition. MLU coming in, and this is more like it. That's a high-performance plane if there ever was one. My Renako, unfortunately, dealing with Fallschirmjäger, are sort of at the end of the rope. You can see I'm trying to retreat, but one group gets stunned, the other is panicked. 3 Renako are the only ones that make it back. But we're doing the same thing again, because you know what? I have Renako. These guys are brutal, brutal infantry, and hey, I mean, fair enough, right? So if they can get a couple kills, if they can distract a couple things and hold their own, then it won't even be all that much trading at a loss either, because I mean, the Apolos missiles are wonderful. I mean, yeah, so that was sort of the intention. Take out a couple of transports, take out a unit of Fallschirmjäger 90, and then these guys have paid for themselves. And the other Fallschirmjäger 90, 30 points of IMG3, won't be able to survive the double squad of Renako either, so panicked, getting killed relatively quickly. And the Renako, only 2 losses so far. The remaining Renako also taking out some Brovait as they are going to be moving back in. Another KPI truck coming in here as well, but I'm running out of resupply. The Rack 91 hasn't been firing for a while because my resupply is running low, and refilling these trucks is actually draining my FOB, as is an Uragan, and I think the Buratino has resupplied there once or twice as well. So we only had 1 FOB, probably needed 2 for a game this long. We are, I think, going to be going to time instead of points here. 6 minutes left in the game. Renako Yekri trying to dodge some mortar fire, down to 17 men, and unfortunately spotted a bit longer than I'd like there. But at least for right now, they're holding more KPIs moving forward. I need to heal these Renako Yekri up. There's still a good 10 men there that could be used, because of course men are made of guns and bullets in this game, but I mean, the 1 KPI might be able to get them close, but not quite. And the more trucks you have, the faster the resupply as well. So it really does escalate pretty quickly. In the meantime, Pions are shooting in, but this triple stack of Pions was meant to handle some light tanks on this side, and really just it was because I had them left in the deck and figured why not. But look at all these M113Gs, and I only have a single unit of Kartan Yekri to answer, so if I can't take out their infantry fighting vehicles, Cart and Yakery won't be able to do the job, and even then it's going to be a tough match. So the Pions are reverse moving back. Again, relying on that 15% stabilizer is not a great idea, and the Cart and Yakery trying to stem the tide. I mean, we might get some of the vehicles eventually, but here are the STRVs coming out to answer, just able to avoid them with the Pions getting the hell out of there before those 121s can get online. In the meantime, here comes a big concentrated push from Core, finally trying to say, okay, well, just please can we get Ivan before this game is over. There's been combat there the whole time, and it would have been nice to go from +0 to +2, just to make sure things are a bit more stable. I should have stopped these guys from moving, but it's just Dragoner. I think it was actually a little bit of bait for the STRVs. There's the stop, and the immediate improvement in accuracy is very telling. Salamandra pushing up, trying to fend off those STRVs, but I'm aware there's automatics in the area. Willing to trade it right now if we can get a kill. Syria, unfortunately, does not get a kill, and down goes the Syria, so I think it didn't get a kill. Let's take a look. Yeah, both STRVs still there, 3 points of strength remaining, so not the best trade in the world, but at least we fended them off for right now. Seed plane coming in, but it's just a puff, so no real threat there, but I don't know, sometimes they get lucky, and I just saw the one STRV move away, so I was trying to decide, did we actually get the kill, did we not, can I push this, can I not push that, do I even need to, there's 4 minutes left, we're up by almost 175 or so points, and this is some brutal combat on this side of the map. Now VDV-90 crossing the open woods, I almost wish there was smoke here, but I mean this does allow Core's fire support to be effective as well. BTR is getting killed by BRDM-3s, and actually, nice return fire. It's a good stun. AT, oh jeez. I'll hold them, you hit them. It seems to be the theme of that moment for Union. But it's going to be a little bit hard to hold against so many Scredgets. Block 5 coming in, nice bomber there, and cluster rounds. Maybe the order of the day when a BMPT is in the area, so good use of that. An MLU is trying to answer this tank push, so the T-64 is going to be having a hard time here, 100 points each, there's one of them dead, and maybe even a second. MLU is surprisingly able to dodge all the missiles from the books until, oh no, all the way through. That should have been a dead MLU, and it wasn't, so hey, I mean, electronic countermeasures are worth something after all. Airquois Yakery dealing with Live Garden here, but this is not a fight that they want to take. And the automatic is not a great primary weapon, and they don't have any tertiary worth the damn. So when the other two units of Lift Garden come in, I'm trying to get out, I'm trying to bring up the XA-180 to hold these guys in place as the Iroquois retreat, but immediately killed. And my Cart and Yakery single group back here is going to have to hold the line for just that little bit longer, as we finally do resecure here. So Raniko Yakery pushing forward. Bad idea. CV90-30Ns are going to do good jobs there. Auxiliaries also bringing in more infantry this late in the game to that sort of position. So my Iroquois are just trying to respond, and, well, they pay the price. But Raniko do get the kills in the Auxiliaries and the Rovait inside them. So at least it wasn't entirely in vain. STRV moving forward, and the Pions working together with the Salamandra are still not able to kill it. So he's still there. Only 3 points of strength. Well, okay, down to 5. Down to 2, and I don't think he can see me is the issue. So the Pions can see him, he can't see them, and that is going to be a kill on a very expensive tank. But Cart and Yakery now answering the Live Garden double squads here, but Calm worried against Panicked, so these guys are going to take quite a pounding. I only wish the Sokol could have gotten his rocket pods online, but a bit too far in the woods for good line of sight there. We should still win that, which, I mean, that goes to show you how tough these guys are. Live Garden are 20 points, Cart and Yakery are 25. And pound for pound, the Cart and Yakery will just win. So, hey, I mean, good infantry is what makes Baltic Front go around, so can't ask for any better than that. Well, that's going to be all we've got for you guys today. We're going to show the kills and losses here in just a minute, as that game did end in a victory. 55-70 kills, 64-60 losses. So just on the good side, well, a little bit shy of 1,000 points bonus for us there. Of course, Conquest, not Destructions, doesn't really matter all that much. High-performing units are going to be the Salamandra, getting some Sanahim and a BTR off the bat. We also had KTs that did okay, although not great. And the Pions really did pull their weight. So Rovait, a bunch of Dragoner and their transports, and the STRV-103D that was an ambush shot on the side. Hawk 51s both did die, but, I mean, hey, I'll trade them for some Zanahim and Live Garden any day. We did get the value out of those guys. Sokol did alright. Overall, surprisingly okay game, considering the amount of offensive pressure coming in just time after time after time. Reniko killing an STRV-121 is, of course, very nice. And the Reniko I really have no complaints about, just wonderful infantry all around. So, Hope to see you guys again tomorrow. Again, if you're still here, if you're still here and you haven't subscribed, I just don't know what you're doing. But, well, thank you all for hanging around. We'll see you again real soon.